Alright, hi guys. This is one of my first renditions of my review segment since I pretty much started it, because I haven't really had a whole lot of time to do reviews on stuff. I'm not going to say that I haven't had stuff to review, because I have. But I'm going to try to get back into that. So today my review is on Cassandra Clare's Chain of Gold, which is book 1 in the last hours, because I just finished this and I need to have discussions. So I'm going to try to review this book as best as possible without giving too many spoilers, but I'm definitely going to mention a few spoilers, and if you are not caught up with Claire's reading, like you haven't read the Infernal Devices, I definitely am probably going to touch on some plot points there. Ghost of the Shadow Market, Tales of the Shadowhunters Academy, and I'm probably going to mention some stuff from the Mortar Instruments and the Dark Artifices as well. So that's a spoiler warning that I'm already going to label on this to start with. But anyways, I'm going to try to dive right into this. I'm not going to try to take too long either, because I mean, I'm not going to give away too much. I definitely want others to read this. But anyways, so I bought I actually pre-ordered the collector's first edition. And so what the collector's first edition actually has in it is we have beautiful art in the front of some of the main characters. Actually, almost all of the main characters. And then in the back we have an exclusive story that I believe the name of it is Fairy Tale of London. It's basically a story about Will and Tessa's wedding, and then like the night after or whatever. To be honest, when it came to all of Claire's works, my favorite was definitely the Infernal Devices. For some reason, those characters caught my attention a lot more. I did read everything in publication order. So I did do the Mortal Instruments first, and then I did Tales from the Shadowhunters Academy, and then I read the Infernal Devices, the Bane Chronicles, the Dark Artifices, Ghosts of the Shadow Market. I started reading the Eldest Curses, but the time I started reading it, I got about halfway through, and then, you know, this came in the mail, and I wanted to read this immediately. It took me some time because, like, some things were happening. My work schedule got shifted around because where I work at was opening later. Times were changing because of coronavirus, so I didn't get to read this as soon as I wanted to, but I am glad that I definitely got through it. So immediately, if you were to ask me if I had a favorite character in each of these series, I would be able to tell you flat out, straight up, like, the Mortal Instruments, it was Clary, and the Infernal Devices was Jim, and the Dark Artifices was Ty. So in this one, actually, I found it rather hard to like the Herondales, because they all seem to act sort of better than everybody else, I guess is the best way to put it. But actually, my favorite character in this was James Herondale, which actually surprised me a little bit. But then again, in these series, every single character that I thought was going to be my favorite actually didn't end up being my favorite. But anyways, so, this is where I'm going to get into the spoilers, so I'm sorry. First of all, the only reoccurring characters from the Infernal Devices, I'm hoping anybody that's watching this has read the Infernal Devices. Parents Will and Tessa are definitely a whole new ball game than the Will and Tessa that we know in the Infernal Devices. I was actually very pleased to see how much Will has matured in a short amount of time, but at the same time, he's still quirky and he's still funny and immature at times. And then I like that we were able to actually be introduced to a Blackthorn, because in like the Dark Artifices, we had like the entire Blackthorn family of that series were like main characters, but up until that point, I really don't recall having read much about Blackthorns until this point, which is really cool. Another thing is, I appreciate that I already had a set mindset with knowing these characters from the short stories in Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy and Ghost of the Shadow Market. They kind of helped I think there was some in the Bane Chronicles too, but I'm not entirely sure. It's been a little bit since I read that. But to already have sort of an established idea of who these characters are before reading about them is definitely a new ballgame, because if I had not read about these characters beforehand, having this many characters thrown at me at once probably would have offset me a little bit. This book had me hooked. About halfway through it, all the way until the end, I was on the edge of my seat. I was kind of like, okay, Claire, if we are going to do this thing where you're going to put me on some traumatic cliffhanger and then tell me I got to wait until all the way until next March to find out more, I'm going to be mad. But it actually resolved pretty well. It still sort of left me on a questioning thing. Like, it wasn't overly a cliffhanger, but I am definitely questioning, and I definitely I'm excited for the next book in the series, so I'm kind of sad I have to wait for that. However, I am appreciative of there's like a lot of diversity in this book, which is really awesome. I like the whole range of characters. I definitely didn't expect to see that all the characters that got together in their infernal devices, I definitely didn't expect to see that pretty much all of them had 2 kids. That was, a little hard to keep up with, especially because, you know, there was Gideon and Gabriel Lightwood. They both got married. They both have 2 kids. So trying to remember which kids belonged to who was a little much for me, because there's a lot of characters in this book. However, honestly, the storyline was great. The characters were well developed, really diverse. I appreciated the fact that, you know, we were already eased into them. I lost my train of thought. Hold on. I'm sorry. Anyways, again, I'm glad that we were eased into them. I'm sorry, I get distracted. I'm glad we got eased into them. This is definitely a series that to fully understand some of what's going on in it, I definitely recommend you have to read the Infernal Devices, Tales from the Shadowrunner Academy, and Ghosts of the Shadow Market before you attempt reading this book. Again, I'm pretty sure you may have to read the Bane Chronicles as well, but again, that one I read quite a bit ago, and I'm trying to honestly remember if any of these characters were introduced at that point. I honestly don't feel like honestly, the best way to describe it is definitely I didn't fully understand the epilogue of the Mortal Instruments completely until I read the Infernal Devices, and reading the epilogue of the Infernal Devices, I definitely wouldn't have understood some of what they were talking about if I hadn't read the Mortal Instruments. So those 2 series definitely were compacted on relying on you have to read each other to understand fully the epilogue at the end of each one. This one, I honestly feel if you just read the Infernal Devices, Tales from the Shadowrunner Academy, and Ghosts of the Shadow Market, you're pretty much set. I mean, it's not entirely tied down with the more modern Shadowhunter stuff, which is okay, and I don't mind that. So, all in all, for, like, characters are definitely 4 stars. They did get there were a little too many for me to keep up with, but they all had their own personalities, and I did appreciate that. The storyline, plotline is definitely 5 stars. If there's anything that relates to Jim, Will, or Tessa, I'm going to recommend you read it, because those are some really good characters. I'm not just saying that because I cosplay all 3 of them, but I cosplay all 3 of them. So yeah, I really, really, really enjoyed this book, and 10 out of 10 stars altogether. I definitely would recommend anybody that's a Shadowhunter fan, especially of the Infernal Devices, this is going to be one of those books that you're going to want to read. And for reference, cosplays are coming from this. I'm still fully trying to debate, but my favorite characters were James and Lucy, both Arendelles, so my cosplays are probably going to be of them. But so yeah, that's my review. That's my sort of review. I'm trying to keep it simple and not babble on and talk about a lot of things in the book. The whole James, this is a spoiler because I said I was probably going to do a few spoilers. So anyways, the whole thing with James and Grace, I didn't understand. I definitely way more ship James and Cordelia. for reasons that, you know, I just do. And that's okay. Everybody has their own thing. And in the end, we're just gonna follow whatever the writer writes, because, you know, we have to trust that Claire knows what she's writing about. And she does. Because so far, a lot of the other ships that we've been given, they're awesome. But anyways, yeah. Sorry, see, I'm babbling on too much. Anyways, that is my honest review. If you have not read any of the Shadowhunters series, you need to, but you definitely should read this book. It's really good. And I'm glad I have a collector's first edition. The story at the back of it is really wholesome-ish. Sorta. But yeah, so I recommend this book, definitely. I'm going to try to do more reviews in the future, especially of books that I read and accomplish, because I'm going to be reading a lot here in the coming days, because I've set myself a goal to try to read 24 books by the end of the year, and this was only book 4. So, but we're getting there. I'm almost caught up on Claire's work, and then next up I'm going to try to catch up on, like, the Trials of Apollo and stuff of that nature that I'm behind on. But anyways, 10 out of 10 stars. If you haven't read Shadowhunters, you need to read it. Definitely recommend this book. I don't know, I've said that like 4 times, but I recommend this book. But, yeah, so that's my honest review, and I hope to have more reviews and stuff up soon, and thanks for listening to me babble on, but about something that I really care about. I don't know how many people are going to watch this, but those who do, these books are great, and I'm a fangirl, I'm sorry. Anyways, so that is my honest review, and I appreciate you all for watching. If you like this, subscribe. Cosplays from all my bookish cosplays, including my book personalities I'm doing here recently, which will include some from the Shadowhunters universe, as well as, you know, future cosplays from this book and everything. They're going to be up on my social media. I'll link those in the description. I have a book Instagram, by the way, that I put all my bookish stuff on. That's Carstars. I know, I have a gem obsession. Gem's awesome. But it's Carstars if you're interested. Look it up. I try to post some book stuff and quotes and all that, which is really cool. But I'll link social medias and stuff in the description. If you like this, please subscribe. More reviews are coming soon, I promise. Thanks for listening to me babble on and be your typical fangirl, and peace out.